to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
Oh, man alive. I tell you what, as I look out the windows of our podcast studio today, I see some blue sky. And I like blue sky.
Oh, there is a little bit up there, isn't there?
And you got a few clouds. But you know what? I like sunshine. I always say good things happen on sunshiny days.
Yes. But I'm glad that we got some rain recently. So.
Well, that is true. That is true. The weatherman was saying this morning that we have, what did he say? We're somewhere around our annual rainfall for the year.
Really?
And we just hit the beginning of September. So,
wow.
I thought that was good.
It's been a lot wetter than I thought.
Yeah. So, anyway, it makes my water bill and my yard look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. So,
I don't have a yard, so I don't care about that.
well, one day you'll have a yard again, and
someday, maybe.
Well,
I don't know. It sounds like a lot to take care of.
That's why, you know what? If you move to our neighborhood, I know a guy who mows yards.
I don't know. Like a good condo sounds good to me, right? Then I don't have to worry about all that other stuff.
Well, that is true. As long as you don't have stairs, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where stairs kind of hurts my knees.
Wow, maybe you need a little bit more exercise.
Maybe, or just a place with no stairs.
I know. I mean, I lost about 60 pounds and my knees feel a lot better.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been losing weight too, but I don't know. Lately, it's just been. Anyway, that's a whole nother story we can save for another day. Nobody cares about that. Anyway.
So what are we doing?
Well, what are we doing? That's a good question. You know, we could philosophically go, what are we doing? Oh, but you're talking about this episode?
Seriously, before we lose all the listeners.
All right. So I was running across different things that pop up. You know, I've said this all the time. All my stuff comes from my news feed. And this one popped up, and I'm going, whoa, this is actually kind of interesting. And the question came down to, are you emotionally secure?
I suppose that depends on the, what's happening at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. And I thought, okay, well, I don't know. Am I secure or not? I mean, I'd like to think that I'm an emotionally secure person, that I'm okay with who I am, the skin I wear. And so, anyway, they it was on, what is this? Health and Wellness from CNBC. So take it for what it's worth. But it was from a Harvard psychologist. And he was basically saying that it's hard for people to identify as being emotionally secure.
Sure.
And so he said, well, there's ways to kind of tell just how emotionally secure you are.
Right.
Now, so he writes this article. And in the article, they were saying basically, if you can answer yes to the following items, to any of the following items, then you are on your way to being a kind of a secure person. In fact, the more you can say yes to, well, then the more emotionally secure you are. And they were tying, again, that if you're emotionally secure, then that kind of leads to a good balance in the other areas of your life.
Sure.
So that's kind of where we're going with this. So you want to see if you're emotionally secure?
Well, I mean, I'd like to think I am, but let's find out.
Okay. Should we call Eileen?
No.
All right, because then you turn around and call Sherry, and then we'd both be in trouble. All right, so here's the first thing. All right, and it's very fitting, given that this is something a lot of folks seem to have a hard time with. Can you listen to different perspectives you disagree with?
Boy, that can be hard. So now, what do you mean? Listen without responding? Without reacting?
Well,
what does that mean?
Okay, so their response to this, they're saying that oh God, if I could just talk. An emotionally secure person should be able to hear other people's perspective and points of view without reacting in a negative or aggressive way.
Okay.
So you're listening. I think we've talked about this before. You listen to understand rather than to respond.
Sure.
So if you can listen to somebody talk about a religious issue, a political issue, a financial issue that you're on the other side of,
Now you're stretching it.
okay.
Right? Like I can, if you want to talk about like where we're going to go to dinner and I don't agree with you, I am emotionally secure. Right.
Okay.
But man, you start coming down on religion and politics and all those things that we used to say we shouldn't talk about.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I see it on social media. Like people are lit.
Oh, yeah.
On this, right? Like, I mean, apparently there's a lot of emotionally insecure people out there.
Well, if you hit the right trigger buttons, I would imagine that would be all of us. But here's the question. It's not saying that you can't talk, and it's not saying that you can't disagree. It's in how you disagree.
Sure.
Can you say, listen to them, go, okay, I hear your point of view. I hear your perspective. Have you thought about this thing?
Right.
Have you thought about that? And it's more in how you respond to their statements, whether they love Trump or they hate Trump, whether they love Harris or they hate Harris. It's not a matter of what they say. It's more, I think, in your ability to disagree better with them.
Sure. I love the Voltaire quote. And okay. I hope it's Voltaire. Like maybe it's just an internet thing.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that this was Voltaire that had this quote where he said that I disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
Yes. And that is something that, and you and I have talked about this on multiple occasions off air.
Yeah.
About, people being able to talk to each other and disagree. I mean, I have told my students many times that if I can have a conversation with somebody, I call it a success. If we disagree, no, rephrase that. We can disagree on an issue, but I consider it a successful conversation if I can get the other person to go, okay, I'll give you that. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective or that point of view.
Right.
Because that means that I got through just enough to get them to consider something they had not thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get them to change their mind. I didn't want to change their mind. That wasn't my intention. But we had a conversation.
Right.
But I think it's hard.
Sure.
Some of our coworkers can really get my they can get me going on, different stuff. And it's kind of like, my gosh, you are such a smart person. Why are you being so stupid? And of course, they're probably thinking the same thing. McCall, you're so smart. Why are you being so stupid?
Here's the thing, right? Like whatever somebody else believes, whether it's about a topic that you disagree with or what, but like maybe it's about you in some way. What does it matter? Like, it can only affect you to the point where you allow it to affect you.
True.
Right? I mean, life goes on, and life is short. Why are we worrying about such things?
Yeah.
That's kind of my take on it is, I can walk out of the room.
Yes, you can. So would you then say that you can answer yes to this question?
I think as of late, I could answer yes to this.
Okay.
I wouldn't generally walk out of the room because you might consider that not being emotionally insecure, right? But there comes a point where like you just have to be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah. I don't have an interest. You might be all heated about it. You can be heated about it.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a point where like I don't need to listen anymore.
Yeah.
I can just let you have your view. And I don't have to oppose or question or make you try to think a different way because you're not going to.
Okay.
So we can still be friends.
Yes.
And we just don't have to continue the conversation.
And that, okay. I can, yes. I
still think that's emotionally secure.
I think so.
Because I'm still accepting the fact that you may have a different point of view.
Yeah. I mean, you could even go so far, I suppose, as you don't even have to walk out of the room. You say, okay, I tell you what, let's change the subject. Sure. This is getting to be a pointless conversation. Mm-hmm. You and I aren't going to change each other's minds, so let's talk about something else.
Absolutely.
Which, again, So I think I could, I don't know. I would like to think that I can answer yes to this question too.
All right. There we go. We're emotionally secure.
Yay! All right, podcast over.
We'll see if the next one holds true.
Okay. All right. This one is, well, I think this is tough for almost everybody, but here it is. Can you set and maintain healthy boundaries?
Okay, this one might be harder.
All right, so here's what they're saying. An emotionally secure person is associated, or emotional security is associated with knowing yourself and setting limits based on your values. That emotionally secure people can articulate how they want to be treated and set guidelines for how they will respond if those boundaries are violated.
So to me, this brings up that question. The question that always comes up in the workplace, and that is your ability to say no, right? Because to me, that's a boundary.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And so my ability to say no to something is often difficult because you want to please other people.
True.
And I think
true.
that pleasing other people is, walking beyond what your boundaries are or should be. You can't please everybody.
Well, true. But at the same time, nothing grows in the comfort zone.
That's true.
So you've got to, if you don't stretch and push yourself, then are you, setting yourself up for failure in another way?
I mean, you could be, but are we, how much can we do in our lives? At work, they want you to do, right? Do more and do better and do more. And at some point, there's a breaking point. Like, you can't do that much. And that's why companies have to hire other people, right? To take some of that on. But we like to say, yes, we'll do it. And then we work ourselves to death and stress and whatever else, right? And we've gone beyond our boundary. And we haven't. Because we're trying to please our boss, or maybe it's a home thing, right? Like we just keep saying yes to something because we don't want to upset the other person.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. We
there are
boundaries.
And we don't want to be walked all over.
No.
Right.
And you're right. It is hard to, I think a lot of times it can be hard to say no. And whether it is, you're right, at work, at home with your spouse, even with your children. One of my dearest friends, he had for the longest time a difficult time saying no, as you were saying.
All right.
And it created a massive problem for him as he was stretched way too thin. And he was trying to be everything to everybody, and he wound up being nothing to nobody because he just didn't have time to take care of himself.
Sure.
And so, no, I think setting healthy boundaries that's hard to learn. And I think you kind of have to be smacked around a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean that like in a literal sense, but I think you have to.
We definitely don't encourage that.
But I think you have to, I think maybe overextend and then get reminded you stretched too thin, come back. You're not Stretch Armstrong. You got to, retract a little and try again.
Right. But the other person has to respect you, right?
True.
And if you can't say no and have that person respect you, then maybe there's other problems.
And it might be more with them than with you. Okay.
And you have to do the same thing for other people, right? Like if somebody says no, you have to respect that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, now obviously if you're a boss and they say no to everything,
well,
there's an issue.
True.
You can still respect it.
Yes.
But then you're going to fire them. Right? So there's a boundary on the other side too, right?
Exactly.
There's expectations.
So I know we went through, when I was going through the divorce, that was something huge that we talked about, was setting boundaries with the ex-spouse.
Sure.
And not only setting them, but maintaining them. And the better you could do that, the easier it was for your mental health, and as well as your relationship with that person moving forward, helping that kind of mend rather than continue to be strained.
Right.
So again, you're right. Setting boundaries. That I'm gonna go. Can I go maybe?
I think I'm a maybe on that one too. That one's tough.
Okay.
That one's tough. Something to work on.
Oh yeah. Well, there's always
No,
that.
this next one's easy. It's easy. This one's easy for me because this one's whether you can admit that you're wrong, and since I'm never wrong,
then it's easy to
right?
See, I'm with you. If I was wrong, I would admit it.
This one doesn't even make any sense. Right. This is just a falsehood right here. So.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I have a problem.
Can you do this? I mean, in all honesty, if Eileen calls you out,
if my wife calls me out, I'm definitely wrong.
Okay.
I mean, I've been married for 32 years. I know I'm wrong.
All right. What about?
That's easy.
Okay. What about here at work?
Yeah, that can be more tough. And certainly if you relate this to the first one that we had, right? About how we need to listen and we be able to disagree with others.
Okay.
Man, when I'm in that heated moment and they're wrong, or I'm wrong and I'm not going to admit it, right? I mean, that can be tough. I think we, as we get further down the list here, this is a little bit more hard.
Well, I will say that I've gotten better at this.
I think I've gotten better as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
And that's the life is short.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And sometimes I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be wrong.
Well,
fine, I'll be wrong and we'll get over it.
It's better to admit for me, I have found that it's better if I admit that I was wrong and let's fix and move forward,
right,
than to be arrogant, or what I was perceiving as being arrogant by myself by insisting, no, I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
And
I mean, I find that as a teacher, I'm okay with being wrong.
Yeah.
And I tell the students when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that, and I'll apologize to the students. There's a lot of teachers that won't do that.
Really?
They will play that they're right, and they're never going to apologize to their students. And I think I feel like that's the wrong message.
Well,
and that if we want to teach kids to admit when they're wrong and to apologize for things, then we got to demonstrate that as parents, as teachers, as adults.
Yeah.
Right, in front of kids that they need to be able to see that.
I will say that there are times where the kids will remind me, "Hey, McCall, I turned this in. Can you fix it? I asked you a week ago," and I'll go, "Oh shoot, okay, I'm sorry, my bad," and I fix it because you get tied up, or because I am such a no cell phone in the classroom individual.
Yeah.
There have been times where I'm assuming incorrectly that a kid has their phone out. And I'll call them on, "Hey, put your phone away." And they hold up that they're playing with a string on their pants. They're going, "I don't have my phone." And I go, "Oh, egg on my face." But I try to, as you say, you know what, I'm bad.
I take a different approach where instead of calling a particular kid out, I just kind of say generally, just so you know, we shouldn't be using our phones.
Yeah.
And that way, usually whoever's guilty knows it. And it could be more than just the one that I was thinking of.
See, yes, and that is the better response, but sometimes I get overzealous.
Sure. I'm sure that hardly ever happens.
Yeah, it hardly ever happens.
So
let's go with that. But here's the thing that they were saying, the Harvard professor was saying. He says that emotionally secure people can acknowledge when they've made a mistake, take responsibility, and then apologize for their actions. And I have to say that I think I'm better today than I have been in the past. And I think my divorce really opened up a huge change in who I am and what I stand for, what I believe, my values. All the things took a radical shift. And I think I started recognizing that it's okay to say you're sorry. It's okay to be wrong. and you actually get more positive responses from the people you're talking to by showing a little vulnerability, a little honesty, and not trying to be the perfect individual, the know-it-all.
I think it earns a lot of respect.
And I think that's
every time.
I think that's what they're trying to say here.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes for me on number 3.
I think I'm a yes on that.
Okay. So we're 2 yeses and a maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look at this one. And I think I might have already answered this one, but I can tell you that it's a change now than what it was before. But it's saying the question is, do you know your core values and beliefs? Basically, are you able to communicate your perspective in a respectful way, even when others may strongly disagree?
So this is kind of connected to number 1.
Yeah. I was actually going to say exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I know my core values and beliefs.
Yeah.
I'm also, I can admit when I'm wrong and say that sometimes I violate my own core values and beliefs.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
So, but this is a tough one.
Well, the argument is that somebody who is emotionally secure is able to be authentic, to know their own values,
mm-hmm.
and act in a way that is consistent with them or with those core values in all of life's situations.
So in front of people and
when people are looking and when people aren't looking.
Right. Yeah. So this is just your character. Ultimately, you're aligning your character with whatever your values and beliefs are. Like the outplay of those values and beliefs becomes your character. So, I mean, I feel like I'm good with this.
Okay.
I kind of, I kind of go by like once you turn 50, you're just like, oh, I don't care anymore. Right. So I am who I am.
Okay.
And if you don't like me, that's cool. Right.
Okay.
And if you do like me, that's cool too. But I'm not like seeking people to like me. So I'm not trying to make myself fake anymore.
Okay.
Right. To try to get people there. I am who I am. And, that could be good or bad. Right. Because it's not that I'm not willing to change. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly learning new things and probably adjusting how I behave. Making myself more in line with my core values and beliefs.
Huh.
Right.
Okay.
Because I don't think anybody fully acts like their core values and beliefs. I mean, maybe the Pope.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But I think everybody has something that they get themselves involved in or see or do or I mean, if you're looking at this from a religious perspective, like everybody sins, so nobody, nobody's completely aligned with their religious values, right? Everybody plays, if you look at it from a secular perspective, everybody plays at some point some level of hypocrisy in something.
True.
Right? Like we don't always 100% align with everything. That would be a perfect being. Right. Okay. So I think that but if by and large we align with them and we get better at living according to them.
Okay.
I feel like that's the best situation. That shows emotional security, that like I'm willing to get better at it. I'm willing to change the way that I live my life to be better at those things. I think that's a serious emotional security.
Well, I think you're onto something. I think that it very well could be. I'm
not a Harvard professor, but
okay, but you slept at a Holiday Inn.
I did. It was a Holiday Inn Express last night.
So I'm wondering, and
that's not a commercial, by the way. But if they want to send us money, we'll take it.
Yeah, no kidding. Never seen anything to money. But anyway, I'm wondering too. You mentioned about being 50, or crossing the 50 threshold. I think, if I understand you right, if I hear you correctly, are you saying that life experiences can help you develop your core values and beliefs?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. Because I'm going to totally agree with you on that. And I'll give you an example.
Well, at least I'm not wrong.
Well, I know. And if you were, you would admit it.
I would.
But, and I go back to my divorce.
Yeah.
And I was married to a person who really, really struggled to tell the truth.
Sure.
Not like a persistent, constant liar, but would promise something and then back out. Somebody who you could tell the truth, but they would lie anyway.
Right.
And I just totally went, I will admit that I wasn't always the most honest individual.
Sure.
But you
were a lot younger too.
That's true. I was way younger. But in watching that and then being on the receiving end of just lie after lie after lie, I guess a fundamental core value or belief in my ways, especially in the 12, 13 years since the divorce, I won't lie.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you the truth. And
Yeah.
if that causes me conflict, if that causes me problem, I will tell you the truth. I know Sherry listens to this on occasion, but maybe this is one she won't. But, if you ask me what I got you for your birthday or Christmas, I probably won't tell you the truth, or I'll tell you, I ain't going to tell you. That's a surprise.
Okay.
If she asked me about...
But that's not... that withholding information isn't necessarily deception or lie. It's just, no, I'm not going to tell you.
But it's totally related to a gift.
Sure.
Or to a present or something like that.
Right.
If she asked me, if certain, clothing garments make her look too wide or too thin, I might exaggerate a little. But I'm going to tell you the truth.
Sure.
If you ask me a serious question, I'm going to give you a serious answer. And
yeah,
because again, one of my core beliefs or values is why lie?
Mm-hmm. See, but that's come up from your life experience, in your previous marriage and with the divorce. Yes. And so, the same thing happens for me, right? Like, we've been married for almost 32 years, and don't think that hasn't had its effect on our character.
Challenges,
right? There's plenty of challenges when you're in your very late teens and you get married and you live together, and mm-hmm. Just anybody getting married and living together creates challenges.
True.
And then going through that with kids and all the years and all the things and all the changes and jobs and locations and all kinds of stuff. That there's plenty of challenges to help you become who you are.
And I think that as you are able to recognize this, mm-hmm. and I agree that some of it does come with age. Mm-hmm. I've heard time and again that, youth is, or something about wisdom is wasted on the elderly or something like that.
Okay.
I forget exactly, shame on me for not knowing that, but I do believe that it takes a lot of experience, life experience, to help shape your core values, your core beliefs. Yeah. And I think it's fine that they change because, again, experience will help either reinforce or challenge what you believe or know to be true. Mm-hmm. So being able to adjust or shift, I think is very important.
Life is a process. And that's why the young typically look to the older to learn a lot of the lessons in life, right? Because the older have been through it.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that as much when I was a teenager.
A lot more obvious now, isn't it?
Well, it is. I better understand my parents.
But even we, in our age of just beyond midlife, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's still older people that we can look to,
Yes.
right? I
Yes.
mean, we have friends, even in our workplace that we look to get some wisdom on things occasionally.
And it's kind of nice now that the kids are older, and so now they do
Sure.
come by, they do ask, and they're more willing to listen. Not that they will always take it, but at least ask or listen to us for advice.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the great perks of the job.
That is true. All right, so can we say that know your core values and beliefs is a yes?
I think I know them as they are today, and they will be ever evolving, right, as I learn more.
Okay. So we've got 4 so far. Can you listen to different perspectives you disagree with? That's a yes. Can you set healthy boundaries? That's a maybe. Can you admit when you're wrong? If I was, that would be a yes. And do you know your core values and beliefs? That's a yes.
All right. I think we have time for one more.
Dang. Okay. All right. Well, here's number 5. Can you express negative emotions respectfully? And so here's what they're saying. This means that you communicate your feelings in a respectful way that focuses on your internal experience. Meaning, you use I statements. This is how I felt. This is what I think.
Okay.
Versus maybe blaming others for your circumstances.
But daggone it, that economy and those gas companies and the president and OPEC and Vladimir Putin. I hate to go political, right? But, we blame a lot of things on external forces on our lives. And I think that's we like to blame other people for things. I think, if you look at religion, right? Adam gets, in the story of Genesis, Adam gets in trouble for biting the apple, and he's right away, he says, well, wait, the woman gave it to me. Right. And the woman's like, but the snake told me to eat it. Right. Like, we're all like, so, all the way back to that story when that was written, like, people are just, it's somebody else's fault.
Okay.
Not mine.
But I think part of that is, well, it's not my fault I was speeding. Well, yeah, it was your fault that you were speeding. Okay. Now, were there circumstances that caused you to be running behind? Sure.
Right.
Were they all entirely? But here's the thing, taking a little responsibility. And this is something that I learned a lot from going through the divorce and being part of our divorce group. They always said, use I statements.
Right.
This is how I feel. This is what I did. Rather than, well, you should do this or you should do that. And so I have gotten a lot better in using I statements.
Sure.
When you said what you said, well, this is how it made me feel.
Right.
And in doing so, and that's also something they talk about a lot in my counseling classes, is use I statements. And it is a very powerful way to take ownership without passing on blame.
So let me ask you, so if you were to come to me and say, I've got this problem, I've got this challenge in my life, and I want to know what you think about what I should do, should I respond with one of these two ways? Like, should I respond with, you should do this, or should I respond with, well, let me tell you, when I face something like that, here's what I did?
I would do the second one. Okay. Because when you use I statements, it's less threatening, and you are more likely to get the other person to be more thoughtful because their guard isn't up.
Okay.
When someone says, you should do this or you should do that, don't you be telling me what I should be doing. You take care of yourself. It can come across as threatening.
But if you asked me.
Sure, if you asked me. But again,
it would still be better, even if you asked me, what should I do? It would be better for me to respond with, well, let me tell you what I did when I had a situation like that. Here's what I did.
If it was me, I would use I statements.
Mm.
And I would, yes, you're coming to me for advice. You're asking my opinion. Well, my opinion is based on what I did when I had a similar situation.
Right.
So let me tell you what I did, and you can decide if this is what you want to do or not.
So the reason I bring that up is because I think that the I statement in that case allows the other person to evaluate your statement and say, oh, that might work for me, or no, that's not what I'm looking for.
And I think that's exactly the point of an I statement.
Because if you tell me, if I was asking you and you said, well, you should do this, my immediate response is, well, who are you to tell me? Even if I asked you, right? Like, I mean, I don't know why. Like, I think it's more valid if it says, this is what I did in my situation that was similar.
Yes.
And how it worked out.
Yeah.
That's better than just, hey, you should do this because I said so.
Oh, I totally agree. And I think that's what they're saying here with this fifth question.
Sure.
And it takes a lot of practice and concentrated effort. I feel angry. Sherry and I talked a lot, and I'll say, when you said that, this is how I felt.
Sure.
When you said this is what I heard, and this is how it made me feel. And by doing so, you're not saying that you weren't angry.
Right.
But it is a way to share your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions in a way that is more constructive and less combative. And so, as a result, I am a firm believer of I statements. And like I said, I started doing this with the divorce group because it was part of our guidelines for our group sessions, is that use I statements, not you statements.
We now call them norms in society, right?
Okay.
In meetings, right? Like
okay.
we call them
Yes.
norms, right?
Yes. But then, like I say, through my counseling classes, that came up a lot again, use I statements. And so as I have practiced more in my practicum stuff, I definitely use more I statements. But it's comfortable for me. It took me a long time to get to this point. So if an individual, I don't want to say you, if an individual can get to that point where they're using more I statements, then you're taking ownership of it, which goes back to one of the previous questions, but it's also communicating your thoughts and feelings and opinions, values, beliefs, whatever you want to call it, in a much less threatening manner, and more likely to be received in a way that you want it to.
Right.
Which can help diffuse a situation or keep a situation from blowing up.
Well, I like this topic. I like these points. There's 5 more, but I feel like we're out of time. And so I think that we could revisit this and coming back and look at some of the other ones next week.
That would be fine. All right. Hey, we got a cliffhanger, baby.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm Rod.
I'm Scott.
See ya.
Bye-bye.